Well, hi everybody. I'm just stepping into my studio before I pack it up, actually. It won't be too long before this is on the back of one of the big trailers, at least everything in here. Just want to touch base with everyone that's taken an interest in our move back north. It's with some sadness that we're departing our farm and the nice weather down here. Back to the cold weather. I know it's going to be beautiful summer up there, hopefully without storms and so forth. But anyway, we just want to touch base. I was hoping Karen would sit with me, but she's helping with some family matters at the moment. And I just want to say hi and thank you for those that have been sort of giving good comments. We had about 40,000 views on our first little announcement that we were going to take on the church in Princeton for our new DSMI Ministry Center. And, I'd love you to catch up on those. I think Facebook actually got rid of that post, and I'm not sure why, but I don't know whether you saw all these, but if you're looking at this is just the front section of a 36,000 square foot property, building on 5 acres in Princeton. And so we're really looking forward to that. But before I share a little bit more news on our move and expectations, I'd like to just remind you about my books. And I'm actually writing my 4th book now, and I'm kind of getting into the groove of being this author. And I want you to understand that from the first book, which was It's Only Theory Until You Do It, and of course these are all on sale on Amazon, and my Facebook pages and I think my web pages have the QR codes. But if you just go to Doug Stanton or the title of the book, it'll come up pretty quickly. I wrote this first book and I wanted to get that out. And it's kind of like a textbook. It kind of touches a whole lot of areas. It's a lot of life story of Karen and I and the kiddies, and why we left home and how we departed our journey from our own homeland of Australia to live in your country, to live in many parts of this country. I think this last move, or this, I never know whether it's the last move, but this move coming up is somewhere around 29 or 30 permanent moves for Karen and I. And a lot of those, of course, were with our children. And, just recently as we sold our horses, knowing we wouldn't be here, the commitment to take on this ministry center is a pretty long-term commitment. And whether we sell or don't sell the farm is irrelevant. We can't leave horses here when we're not sure when we're coming back. And it brought a few tears because, my horse Gunner and Emmeline and the other horses and some of the pets, it just made me realize that there is a price. I mean, we love the country here. We love the people. We love the environment. We love the fact that it doesn't freeze. The farming is in our DNA from our Australian background. There's so many things, and I think my daughter, Shana, I think it was, said, "Yeah, I'm just thinking about obedience is better than sacrifice." And I was looking at the tears in my wife's eyes as she departed all little mini horses and her Emmeline, and I thought, maybe, I think even my daughter said, both my daughters said, all my children said, I don't think people realize the sacrifice that you guys have made to go and do what you believe God wanted you to do. And I guess for many years we didn't think about it too much. We were driven by the love and the desire to just go and pioneer and do stuff. But the older you get, the more you feel a bit attached to your environment. And I said to Karen, this is not the first time that we've had to give up what we love, to leave who we love, to go and do what we do because we truly in our heart, to the best of our ability, believe that's what God wants us to do. And, I just made the comment with a few tears in my eyes. Not many people do. And most people won't let go of things. Most people won't let go of what they love. And I'm not judging anyone for that. I just, after 36, 37 years of preaching the gospel, reading the scriptures, looking what God did this all for, I just realized that I think God takes stock of your sacrifices, but more so your obedience. We know the story of Saul, that where that scripture came out of, obedience is better than sacrifice. He kind of thought in his selfish way that some of the things, even though it was disobedient, that the sacrifice would cover his disobedience. And anyway, I don't want to spend this time talking about that, but in reflecting our desire to be back where our children are that can't come this way for their reasons, because of family, we are making that parental sacrifice, of course, to be closer to our kids and our grandkids, and we want them to be involved in the new ministry center. But anyway, all that to say that this book, It's Only Theory to Do, it came out of my life of not only experiences, but sacrifice, miracles, seeing what works and what doesn't work, spending time talking on things that you don't even know whether you really believe it works, I think sometimes is very hollow. And so I trust if you've got a copy of It's Only Theory Until You Do It, that you found it helpful. And I think I'm probably going to become a better writer as I go along, a better author. But that's my raw first book that I think covers a lot of ground. My desire now is to come out with a series of subjects. The first one was Good Dad, Bad Dad, which I'm sure could be misunderstood, the title, but it covers a whole lot of ground. I just put a post on my Facebook to explain a little bit more. Thank you for those that have already purchased it, just because it's my book. But I hope that as you read it, as a child, as a male or a female, or as a dad, a good one, a bad one, in your own eyes or in someone else's eyes, I sometimes think I could have been a much better dad, even though I think I was a good dad. I had a good dad, but I think my good dad would have thought he wasn't as good as, others thought he was. I think that's human nature to kind of, put yourself down a little bit. But the book is not to condemn anybody, but it's to help what the world, and I've heard many preachers say, a fatherless generation. I think we've lost the concept of being trained by our parents, trained by our dad as a young man, and many times that we pay a price for that. And I've touched it from every angle I could think of, from experience and life. And so that next book of Good Dad, Bad Dad, I think I've got some copies here. Like this was the two books, the first two books, Good Dad, Bad Dad, and then the Good Dad, Bad Dad book, I think I think I've written it pretty well. We've published it, and I think it will help you if you're a daughter or a son and you maybe experienced some kind of abuse. Your dad was not there, not available, whether he had a lot of money and he sort of loved you by buying you things, but you really just wanted your dad. Or he might have been a drug addict, an alcoholic. He might have died when you were young. He might have not been there when you needed him most. Again, none of those subjects are to be judgmental towards anyone. It's just that we all are a product of life, and life either is fair or unfair, or we feel rejected or not rejected. And I've written this book from every angle I can think of, to not only help you, but to help you help others. Every day of my life, I meet someone with their own unique story of betrayal, of mistrust, of divorce, of a dad that betrayed their mum, or a mum betrayed their dad, and then he got broken and started to drink, or whatever it may be. And there's no dad, no parent that wants to be unkind to their children or hurt their children, but many times life determines that result unless God intervenes. So I spend a fair bit of time in the book talking about the various possibilities that are real, and I cover it from Scripture. I look at the dads in the Bible, from Abraham to Moses to whoever, and to King David, and just sort of touch on things that the Scriptures bring out, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I want you to read the book if you can. I want you to share it with others that you think it might help, because that's why I'm doing it. It's not a money-making venture, I can assure you, but it's got essence of my life and my commitment to people in it, and of course my commitment to God. And so, have a look at that book on Amazon. It's a little cheaper if you just get it on Kindle, and if you're an unlimited Kindle member, you get it for free and you just read it. I want to do some of these books as audio books, and probably once I'm settled in my new office in the ministry center up there, I will do that. But there's a QR code on my Facebook, and that's one there. You just click the QR code and it'll take you straight into Amazon, and you can get the books. The last book's a little bit cheaper than my first one. And if I can, I'll make them even cheaper again. We will have them with us on the road and in our new facility. But so all these books, whether Good Dad, Bad Dad, or whether it's only theory until you do it, I want to share my third book, which has only just been published, which is The Wound of Rejection Healed. And, I again put a post on Facebook with a bit more explanation on that. Certainly on the back of the book, it gives a reason for the book. But I'm writing this as a subject, and I'm trying to put things into some priority. I'm on my fourth book now, will be called Understanding Rejection, and it'll be from God's perspective, and the fallacy of why many people think they've forgiven, but they really haven't, because the power of God's forgiveness hasn't really broken the bondage of unforgiveness. And the same with rejection. The wound of rejection is in everybody, and it has spiritual roots, which those that understand that there is a spirit or a spiritual bondage that binds you when you've been deeply hurt and rejected, betrayed. That can be from childhood, can be from the womb. It can be from the essence of life. It can be in the DNA. You can suffer rejection that your great-great-grandmother experienced from being raped when she was riding out west to take over America or Australia. There's so many reasons that only God knows why you respond or act out of hurt. And so not only do I cover all of the possibilities that could connect to someone out there, again, not to just help you, but to help you help others, I want you to realize that God is the only one that can transform your life. I give stories of myself, of my wife, how the hurts in our life from broken relationships and from things to do with family have transformed our lives. I've seen my wife just be transformed, as the person closest to me on this earth, to see her at peace, to see her be content, to see her feel not only fulfilled, to be able to generally be one with her husband and vice versa. Look, the sad truth is many people don't experience that kind of peace or fulfillment, and that's why we do what we do. That's why we preach most nights of the week when we can. That's why we're opening a new ministry center, because we're going to do a series of nights every week. I'm not sure how many yet, but we want to do it because what we've found is you can't fix someone up with a Band-Aid. It takes work. It's like if you break a bone, you can reset it, but it takes a long time before you can run and jump. And so all these books are there to help you be free, to be healed, but also so you can help others. When you stand before God, which might not be too far away by my understanding, there's a lot of things I'd like to say about that are happening all around the world right now that are prophetic yellow lights or warning lights on the dashboard that we are very, very close. Just like in September up north there and a little bit later down here, all the leaves will go yellow, and a lot of people say, oh, isn't it beautiful? And I just look at it as like warning lights on the dashboard. We're about to go into a deep freeze. And I believe that we are so close to the returning of Jesus Christ. I don't know how close, no one does, but he said to look out for the signs of the time. I'm pushing harder. I could be a retiree. I've passed my 70 mark. That's all God promised. And I really love the land. I love working. I love getting out there and just doing a hard day's work on my farm and see the satisfaction of something being transformed. And but I've always, even in my early ministry, I thought I've given up all those dreams to help people, to help God's sheep, to farm his farm, so to speak. And now I've been back on the land. I've really had my fill, and I'm ready to just spend the rest of my days helping God's livestock, so to speak, and fixing up his ground, so that seed can not only germinate but it can grow. And so our new center up in Princeton is going to be a place where the seed, the incorruptible seed of God, will actually, I just want to put this QR code up. That's for anyone that's interested in my first book. You can just grab it. I'll put a few of these up right at the end of today's post, so that if you can't get to my Facebook or you don't have Facebook, you can find these posts. I want to just go quickly back through. We're packing like crazy. I feel like we only just finished packing the ranch. I still have a 40-foot tractor trailer, 40-foot trailer filled with everything that was from our ranch. Now I'm filling up a 53-foot trailer, and I've got to get some drivers to take it up there. Not sure will I use our own truck. I'm just getting it repaired, which was a bit of a disappointment. Spending about $7,000 or $8,000 on fixing some things I didn't know was wrong with our new truck we were going to take around the country, and it kind of reminds me that maybe I'm getting a bit old to have breakdowns in the middle of nowhere. But that's for some of you young ones, and will stir you to do that in the future. But we may use our truck if we've got drivers to take up our trailers. Otherwise, I'll contract a backload to get our two trailers up. Just after somewhere about the middle of June, we'll be putting our trailers into the car park. We're taking possession of the building right at the end of June, and we'll be setting up sound systems and just getting ourselves sort of orientated with the new center. So we're excited to come into the new DSMI Center. I hope you are. We've had not only the people that we've known for years that saying they're looking forward to visiting, and we're a little bit further north, so we don't expect everyone to be there every night. The hungry ones will when we're open. We're going to have food. I mean, there is food around us. There's all the eating places. There's the Pizza Hut right next door, and there's McDonald's and all the normal things very close to our ministry center. But we've got a 200-seat cafe downstairs with a commercial kitchen, very much like what we had in the DSMI Center up north, but a little bit bigger, a little bit better. There's a great big kitchen. You can see a glimpse of it there. And we've still got to buy there the original tables and chairs, which went with the original owners. But we're going to believe to have the money. I'll be honest with you, pretty much every spare bit of cash we've got is going into purchasing the building, and I'm selling all sorts of things over the next 6 months, as much as I can and as quick as I can, to and all of that's dedicated into paying off the building very quickly. It's virtually a cash purchase. We're not borrowing money from a bank or anything. We're just believing we've got not only the assets that we own ourselves, but we believe God will make up the difference if we need to. He's always done that. Somehow he's always done that. And so there's a step of faith here, as well as a confidence to just use what we've got. To be honest, I thought I'd sold our farm here, and it just fell through yesterday. And that was like, even though I try to keep our personal finances separate to the ministry finances, both Karen and I are prepared to do whatever it takes to make this a success for you and the kingdom. And so it's still there on the market for the right person to come along. But when you look at this, I'll just go through it really quickly for those that haven't seen it. That's the front of the big building, and it's got almost like a place where you could grow plants in the front. It's like a nice auditorium and nice surrounds, 5 acres, big oak trees or whatever they are. I haven't even had a good look at their species, but they're going to look pretty nice through the summer months. And so it's a 5 acre block. That's only a portion of it, but we have a massive car lot area. Our big trailers will be in there shortly, ready to unload. But it's a really beautiful building, and that's it from the back or from the side. I'm not familiar with all the names of the streets yet, but that it's a big building and a very practical building. It's 2 stories through the whole building, so it's got a lot of space, a lot of offices. We've got a school in there. We've got all kinds of things. That's the main auditorium. It's a bit hard to see because it spreads out to the left and the right, but it's just a beautifully maintained. There's very little work that we've got to do, and all the carpenters and painters breathed a sigh of relief that helped us on the last center. But that all that we need to do initially anyway is to pull out a few pews at the front so that we've got our customary big altar area. Going to leave the pews. We might eventually put some more padding on those or whatever. But I don't think it's too bad to be a little uncomfortable if you have to, and then come to the altar and let God change your life. But anyway, we've got the cafe that you can come before and after the meeting, like we used to do at the center. We've got most of the big facilities in the commercial kitchen, but of course a lot of our commercial kitchen stuff went with the ministry center before. That's sort of a back view of the property from the garage areas and so forth. It's a beautiful, big, solid brick facility. This is where we'll be functioning from the main auditorium. It comes well back this way as well for overflow. And as I said before, it goes to the left and the right. So when you're on the stage level, where are we here? If you can just be patient with me, we go to the right. Now, some of the Catholic little facilities there, from statues to things they've got mounted on the top area there, and even the stained glass is going all into their new premise. They're building a nice new building between Zimmerman and Princeton. 2 churches coming together. They've been very, very helpful to us, and we're going to keep in touch with them. And then over to the left, and you can see the grand piano in the background there. I think that may have been the original church going that way, and they built, and extended it at some time in the past. But it's a beautiful facility. Everything's in good order. They had their music at the back there. We'll be moving the music to the front, like we always do. We'll have the drums and the guitars and that on stage, mainly because everyone from a drummer to a singer to whatever are leaders, and their expression, their love for Jesus needs to be felt and seen as they minister in music and song. And we've always done it that way, and I guess we're not going to stop doing it that way at this point. We're not telling some other church how they should do it. I know some people don't want to have anyone seen, and they just want them out of the picture, but I believe every one of us is a living testimony of who God is. And so I've always said of our singers and our musicians, whatever, realize someone's watching you. They're watching whether you're sincere, whether you're real, whether this is just a job, whether you just like playing guitar, or whether you're ministering to God and his people. And we've been blessed. Karen's been blessed to just have so many people that just come along that not only love God, they love us, they love being part of what we do, and they love people. And so that's all part of ministry. So that's all good. That's at the back. You can see an overflow area with concertina doors that go all the way back there. To the left and right are offices and other facilities. But it's just a beautiful building. We have a two-story building. So imagine in the summer, there's a beautiful area where we can have an outdoor meeting just below the garage, below this area. But the school is in the bottom floor, so that might end up being a daycare. It might be partly our Bible school. I don't know what God would have us do, but we've got a lot more facility than we'll need in the short run. But in the long run, I'm sure God will open up lots of reasons for us to use it. So they're great facilities. And this is a chapel at the back of that auditorium that you just saw. You go around that, and again, the stained glass has gone to their new church. But this would be a great for prayer meetings, for maybe for small weddings or whatever it may be. We do want to make the facility available for weddings and things like that. This is probably be my office, I think. It was the senior pastor or priest's office. And, I don't know that would be my office studio, but it'd certainly be my office to just help people, talk to people, and lead the thing. There is administrative offices. That's another shot of the kitchen, or actually look to the left or the right, the concertina doors. It opens up bigger and bigger if we need it to be. So just a great facility. And that way is looking back across towards the kitchen area, the commercial kitchen, the commercial fridges and dishwashing machines and so forth. So pretty exciting. I can't wait to be there, to be honest. That's one of our garages. I think that's the third garage. And that would be for the maintenance equipment, just to mow the lawns and look after the place. So it's a great facility. That's the second garage. And it's like a workshop and double garage. I'm going to enjoy bringing some of my tools, not everything that I've got on the farm, of course, but I'm going to have a workshop in there, so if something breaks, I can fix it. And to be honest, I've been working so hard every day for the last decade, it's going to be a little bit weird just to be kind of a dignified pastoral minister again. But so I'll probably be the guy sitting on the lawnmower. I love work, and as I get older, I realize if you stop working, you stop living. So I'll find things to do. That's just one of about 8 or 9 classrooms, which we will use for whatever. There has been a school in there through this time, and they're moving out just a little bit after we take possession, I think, or somewhere maybe just before or just after, which we've allowed permission to do that. Again, another beautifully appointed classrooms. And there's another one. I think there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 classrooms like that, which are just all big. They're 20-something foot by 20 foot, beautiful facility. And There's another one. Just, I mean, we might even have a homeschooling school environment where people who are homeschooled can come together or something like that. I'm not sure. We'll just see as God leads and as the kind of people that can run those things are available. Again, this is a foyer area to go into the administrative offices, and there'll be an office there for Karen and for the staff to run things. Lots of offices on the other side. If you go to behind my head there to the right, and you see doors going everywhere. There's probably another 4 or 5 offices on one side there, which is just a blessing as we increase our staff. That's a kind of a spring look from the front. You see the big oak trees. Beautiful. I love this place. I'm looking forward to being there, and I'm going to reiterate again, there's a car park even out the front of the building, and I think that's 7th Street. Not sure exactly. I will know after I've gone there like 4,000 times, and I hope you'll get to know it too. There's my book, Doug's book. So I think that's basically it. I just wanted to do a little run through, a little reminder we're coming. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. I've been blessed with those that have given really favourable comments and expectations. A lot of people and pastors we haven't really known personally that are excited we're coming to their area, and many of you that have known us for years. We're looking forward to you visiting with us. You know, some of you hungry ones, the hungriest of you, are probably going to make you trek to there pretty regularly and maybe weekly. But we have, I can't say we don't have big expectations, but I don't have the same kind of driven expectation for revival that I had for the first 25 years in Minneapolis. I want to have the revival spirit in the place, but I want to train preachers. I want to train workers. I want to feel like that if Karen and I need to have a week off or 2 weeks off, that we've got staff, we've got people who are adequate. And so I want to train up revivalists. I want to train people for the next season, their next season. Even if Jesus tarries and doesn't come when I think he's going to come, I want to train people like he could be another 20 years away, and train others to be ready to stand before him whenever that is. You know, I have this satisfaction, and I hope you do too, that if I went to be with Jesus today, I've done my darndest. Even here on the ranch, I don't feel like I've been as productive as I was in my first 30-some years. But I feel I've pleased God. There wasn't a day I didn't get up, including today, where I think I'm doing this to be able to do something for the kingdom. It's to benefit someone else other than just me. And most parents do that. Anybody does that to some degree. But are you doing it for the kingdom? When you stand before God, you know, to actually feel like before you get there that you've understood what Jesus meant, you'll only gain the eternal privileged life that is promised if you're willing to give up this life. Now, you have to figure out what that means. Preachers like me do our best to try and expose what that means from the scriptures, from our experience. But at the end of the day, you have to decide. But I know there's a lot of people that just think attending church on a Sunday for an hour has just solved all the problems of eternity. Look, it might get you through the pearly gates, but what are you going to do when you get there? Like, what is it all about? Why did God do such a long-term refining process, not only for individuals, but for the whole world? You know, from Adam through to when this finally gets past the white throne judgment. Why did God do all this? What is it all about? You know, did he do it just to get some saved and most of them in hell? And, you know, that doesn't make any sense from any point of Bible or logic. God wants to be your father. You know, from the beginning of the Bible, he says, you'll be my people and I'll be your God. But then it progresses to the father-child relationship, the father-son relationship, and to be the church of the firstborn ones that go to heaven and as the called, the chosen, and the faithful. What does it mean to be called? What does it mean to be chosen? What does that mean to you? To be faithful to God, not just faithful to your church, not just faithful to your own family. That's all important. But are you faithful to God? And they're the bother me thoughts that I have every day when I start to feel a bit like just the human Doug, just the fleshy Doug, just the selfish one. I come back to, do I really believe eternity is forever? Do I really believe what I sow now is going to be reward for God and for eternity so that I can be beneficial to God? Do I really understand the millennial reign? Am I going to be a part of it? Am I equipping myself so that if God needs me for that millennial reign, am I going to be ready for that? I look at, the governments. I look at the Biden government. I look at people that I didn't think were very efficient at their jobs. Regardless of your politics, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm an Australian citizen. But, I look at what this administration is doing, and I see that from years ago, Mr. Trump didn't know who was going to be his cabinet, really, and he made some wrong choices by his own admission. I think God's looking for his cabinet. I think he's looking for his carpenters. He's looking for his bakers. Whatever it is, his librarians. He's looking for his mayors, and we're going to rule and reign on this earth for 1,000 years. Make sure you don't lose sight of allowing your day-to-day life to transform you with God's power to become the person that God wants you to be for eternity. He has a plan for you, and it's for good and not for evil. He has a purpose for not only your life now, but your life for eternity. When I began this night's post, I talked about the cost, selling our horses, selling things we love, moving away. There is a price that God, I think, invites you to pay. He doesn't make you pay it. He invites you to pay that price. When my Karen decided to leave her mum and dad and be my wife, she made a choice to leave her family and cleave to me. When we as a family looked at all the blessings of friends and cousins and mums and dads and grandparents and decided to come to America, it was a cost. There's always a cost. And, I've owned beautiful homes. I've some of them far nicer than what we've lived in recently, and probably we're moving into something more simple in the near future. But, I don't regret any of it. It's all, my wife calls it an adventure. Please don't allow the comfort or the discomfort or the inflation or the what's happening in the world to stop you from allowing the power of God to touch you in the midst of whatever the environment is you're in, to transform you and take hardship and turn it into blessing, to take, as old Robert Schuller used to say, to turn your scars into stars. I am excited about our visit up there shortly. Well, it's not a visit. We're coming to live. It's hard for me to say that because we tried so hard to get out of Minneapolis, and we're still sort of drawn into it through ministry and our family, but we've made that hard choice again to let go of our loves and our lifestyle down here to go back up and be a blessing in Princeton, Minnesota, and to whomsoever would come along and take advantage of what I think God gives us to do for others. Looking forward to my grandkids, my kids being involved, and we will not be church as Sunday determines church to be, but we'll have meetings other nights of the week, and I'll attend a local church, possibly I think my daughter's church, River of Life Church, and on Sunday mornings, and we'll be a blessing there as much as we can. And we're doing this to be for the body of Christ like we've always done. Please back us up. Please pray for us. Please please help us. Those who can contribute some finance, I can tell you, we're not broke, but we're spending everything we got, and more. So we've got some dreams for the stage. We want to put a lead wall behind it so that it just changes the environment, and we can put scriptures up, and we can put all those things that we've had in the past, but just a little bit better. I don't want to hold back on this one. We're going to do it well, and we're going to do it in a way that firstly it pleases God, but then it touches your life and lives around you. So God bless you. As I close out, I will put some of these QR codes if you're interested in the book. If you haven't got time to do that, go to our webpage or our Facebook pages, and they should all be in there. If they're not on my webpage, they will be shortly. Can't wait to have staff again that gets a lot of this stuff done on our behalf. God bless you. I love you. I got to go and pack some more rooms up and some more furniture, and we're looking forward to seeing you soon. This might be one of my last posts before we get up there and do it every day. God bless you. Bye for now. So these are the books that I've mentioned, and you've got the first book, which is It's Only Theory, that little orange code there. You can just like you're taking a photo of that, and you'll go straight to Amazon. Of course, you'll find the 3 books there once you go to Amazon, but if you want one of those in particular, we'll go directly to that when you photograph the QR code. Again, I mentioned that they are on my Facebook, Doug Stanton or Doug Stanton Ministries. Karen might even have it on hers as well. And if they're not on my webpage, dsmi.org, which I think is always running underneath my post here, it will be very shortly. I want to mention, in terms of prayer, my pastor that has been our pastor, our oversight, all the years we've been in Minneapolis or Minnesota in America, Pastor Alan Langstaff. He just turned 90. I'd love you to keep him in your heart and prayers. He has been such a blessed man with his wife Dorothy and his family, but he's been through a lot of loss in these recent years, from Dorothy going to be with the Lord to earlier than that, his son-in-law went home early in his 40s from a heart attack, and then just recently his daughter in England, in the UK, passed away. And so I met with Pastor Alan recently, and it was great to catch up. He's still fully alert. He puts a newsletter out. I think it's the Langstaff letter. I've got some other people in Australia, the names just got mixed up. So Alan Langstaff and the Langstaff letter, but pray for him, pray for his strength, his endurance, and he's sort of in that last run, and I don't bother him as much. I had a chance to visit with him last time I was in Minnesota, and many of my friends visit him more regularly. I'd love you to just keep him in your prayers, that he stays strong and healthy until it's his time to meet with his family in eternity. So I love you all. This is probably a bit longer than I thought, but it's my post before I just sort of fold up my studio here and put it in the truck, ready to set it up in maybe one of those classrooms or somewhere in our new facility in Princeton, Minnesota. Love you all. Bye for now. I'll leave some of these codes up just for a few minutes longer as you say goodbye to each other. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Next time I see you, I might be in Minnesota.